everybody. Welcome back. Here we are for the last workshop in fashion design. It's going to be quite a tight meeting we have today. So basically, the idea is to go through the 4 main steps of any collection building process. So, of course, you can see them here. There are 4 main steps, as I said, in which a fashion designer can get clarity on what he or she wants to be up to. So, the concept, the mood, then we will go through color and fabrics, and then finally through the illustrations. These are even really the steps, so 1, 2, 3, 4, which somehow we need as fashion designer to explore and to make sure that across these 4 main steps, we really get clarity on what we want to do. So what's a concept? Concept can be, it's really the initial point of our own, let's say, thinking. It's the first step in which we put down our own ideas. Of course, a concept can be anything. Can be nature, can be desert, can be flowers, can be we visited an art exhibition and we got an idea, so we want to explore it. And then we want to make a collection out of it because somehow this exhibition or subject or picture somehow excited our own taste, and therefore we make a research specifically. So a concept is really the first idea which we have to pull down in order to start figuring why we got so excited about that. So it can be anything, but of course it's something which stopped our own feeling. So in this case specifically, this is the work I did. Of course, it was all about desert during the sunset. So even some colors were already highlighting the idea. And then as a second step, and that's why you have it here on this board or on this slide, there are some very old sign which this artist, is a young Italian artist, made specifically in this archaeological site in Sicily, where he used the cactus leaves, and then he reported exactly the graffiti which were on the rocks. So the combination of this exhibition where I went, together with a specific moment of the day in a desert, made my concept. So once I decided for this concept, that I was gonna develop this summer collection all about desert during the sunset, I got this additional information with this young artist exhibition, which was all about this archaeological site. Then I made my mood board. The mood board is the first, it's a research in this case, in which we try to match the concept with what's around at the moment in fashion, in regards of shapes, in regards of fabrics. And by the way, it's a first representation from the concept of what we want to develop somehow for our own collection. So it's a kind of market insight in a way, in which we start pulling together a bit more operationally our own ideas. These ideas, of course, if we want to go for fluid dresses or for big color prints or for this specific graphic artwork, so a bit more primitive, then of course we start briefing, first of all our own fabric research, as well as we start pulling together which will be basically the print direction, not specifically this subject, but in a way we are already declaring or thinking that we will go for bicolor prints with very graphic and simple signs or subjects, and maybe even botanical. So it's a research that any fashion designer does. It can be for a shopping tour, can be on internet, can be anywhere, but for sure we get clarity, we start shaping our own ideas. So that's what a mood board is for. After that, of course, you have seen the concept, the mood board, and finally we start pulling together the right color range we want to develop for this concept, for this collection. So in this case, for instance, of course, it's all about neutrals, sandy color, and then finally we go even into green in order to, of course, this was a collection, men's and women's, so therefore we need to be, whenever you approach even a two-gender collection, so men's and women's, not just women's, of course, we have to keep in mind that, for instance, the military green or the olive green, it's normally essential in a men's summer collection. As well as whenever we approach such a neutral color palette or color range, we normally need to have at least a couple of colors which can pop and immediately create a kind of emotional approach to this collection. Can be even a piping or, a trim if we don't want, after all, to use essentially the red or the bright green as a main color, but somehow gives a twist to the collection. So even this kind of way of creating an emotional approach to the collection, we will have 3 years to explore even these little details in which we can make a collection a bit more exciting or a bit more spicy. So studying the colors in a way is not just a process of pulling together in the nice and the right way the colors, but also really to explore the ideas and the fact of pulling together something which will give spice to our collection. So that's why also the position of these two pop color, it's at the far bottom. So basically, this will come with the experience, but anyway, whether we'll see this color palette or if we have to explain to somebody why this color palette was done, and we will normally say, okay, from color 1 to 5, that's the collection, and then with the last two, either they are used to pop out our print, or we use a trimming or the lining or any other accessory in order to really make this collection a bit more spicy, as I said already. So then finally we go into the last step. So just to remind you, and these 4 main slides or documentation are really the 4 steps which we need to pull together, because somehow we will have to present all the time to somebody our own idea and why we got into this collection, or simply whenever you will do your own collection, you will have to present it to the press or to the marketing department, because after that everybody will start working on their own fields. Or just imagine a shooting campaign. Of course, if we go for a desert collection or a pop desert collection, of course maybe the site in which we will shoot this collection for sure will be either a desert or a specific site which is in a way representing or elevating at its best our own collection. For sure we will not shoot it, I don't know, maybe in New York. We will go somewhere else to really create the right atmosphere. So of course, what we have seen at the moment will also brief a lot of other department or people or peers that will need to get our own ideas and make the most matching setup for this collection. Do imagine even a window, of course. Maybe we will create a site with sand and rocks, and in order to fit this collection in. Yeah. So after that, the illustration is really the last creative part which we need to go through. So in this case, after the concept, after the mood board, after the color palette, we start pulling together all the information that we somehow got after our own research. Normally it's a very, how can I say, deep research from the illustration. Finally, it needs to come out or get out our own ideas in terms of shape, in terms of silhouette, in terms of really our own creative spirit. So it needs to get out really what we meant deeply. So somehow it's a self-expression of our own taste and our own research. So, good or not good, these are, of course, the 4 silhouettes which were released to show what we were about to do in terms of ladies' collection. Before, you have seen a kind of men's silhouettes. Of course, there were more men's silhouettes because, as I said, it was a combination of men's and ladies. But by the way, of course, ladies is normally the big portion of any fashion industry. And therefore, normally ladies are the more evident, is the more evident part of our own job. Most recently, though, men's is becoming quite strong in terms of research. So whether of you would like to explore men's apparel, just to let you know, maybe it will be a part of the question that we will have later. But here at Raffle, we start studying men's at the 2nd year. So ladies covers the full 3 years, as well as accessories and knitwear, but men's will start on the second year. So, in order not to lose too much time, for whoever of you would like to try to pull together with the same steps what we have just seen, probably you just receive it you received it already, sorry. We provided 4, let's say, empty pages in which you can pull or try to collect your own concept. The second one is in regards of your mood board. So after having done your concept, you can start pulling together all the image. In this case, about apparel or accessories, can be, if you want to do a shoes collection, of course, you will collect a lot of shoes shape image, just for you to have a kind of guideline on where you want to explore your collection. As soon as you have done your own mood board, then you should be ready really to pull together a color range. Again, let's think that a mood board is not specifically what we want exactly to make, but it's a guideline. So let's always think that the more we do this work, and the more this mood board especially needs to be extremely clear. We will always meet people maybe not really knowing what a fashion collection is. So it's not just that we get clarity about our own ideas, but it's whenever we have to present our own collection and maybe we are not really dealing with people who are very familiar with apparel, we need to give market or insight which can be understandable very easily. So if it's a good representation, normally things get quite easier. So in a way, we are opening our own ideas and creativity, matching with something which can be easily understood and can be easily presented, and we can convince maybe our collection sponsor that our ideas it's correct and good, and of course it's even matching with what the market might need or our customer might need. So the more specific we are, the more clarity we get, and even our, let's say, operational calendar becomes easier to follow. So after that, and here is the last part of any designer, is the most powerful. This is really the moment in which we give all our own selves. We present our own ideas in the right way. And again, we have saw it before. The more we are emotional or clear, for instance, in this case, we are really technical. The presentation needed to be technical. These were made for the commercial team, and therefore they needed to be very natural. Even the proportion needed to be very specific. It was not a press presentation. So in the press presentation, maybe we dare even more. In this case, it was a very technical presentation, so the representation of the silhouette needed to be extremely clear, not emphasized and not crazy, because let's say that whoever was listening to this presentation needed to get really, let's say, the trading power of this collection. So I hope that you all would be the best, but maybe some of you will try to go for this exercise. These are, I just remind you, really the 4 main steps that we will explore especially during the first year. From the second year, everything becomes very operational. So you need to concretely understand the steps, the processes, and the way technically we should build a collection. So this is what it's essential in terms of flow to understand. So whoever wants to go for it, then please have a try and enjoy yourself. I believe that there are quite a lot of questions. I'm glad. So maybe we leave the time at least to answer to the main question that we received.
Okay, Emanuele, yes, today we have a lot of questions for you.
Good.
Igor asked, hello, is it easy for a foreign student to study fashion design in Italy?
It's easy as anywhere else in the world. Italy is not, actually is a very welcoming country, so of course it's easy. Maybe a little bit of Italian it's needed, and not to study in the Raffles school, but for the daily routine, for sure a little bit of Italian it's worth for an easy living. But so far it's very easy to live in Italy. And Milan is a fantastic city, by the way.
Another question. When the 3 years course in fashion design will start?
The fashion design 3 years course will start beginning of November. So, of course, the classes are quite small in order then we are able to, let's say, follow you guys in the best possible way. So just subscribe and get all the information you need on our social or on our website. Of course, as I said, the classes are quite small. Therefore, the later you fill your own, let's say, application, of course, we might say no at one point if the class is already full or...
Okay. Then, does the course cover all gender and product categories?
Yes, I said it before. So ladies, of course, is the main focus. And it lasts, of course, for the full 3 years. With men's apparel, we start, let's say, get the training from the second year. So men's is 2 years. While we have specific, let's say, courses, especially in regards of knitwear, accessories. Again, they all start from the first year. So basically, except children, we do cover everything and any product category related to men's and ladies.
Another question.
Yeah.
How many colors we can put in the color card?
Normally, I'm very tight in this, but let's think about the normally a correct collection range should stay. Let's talk about a regular collection, about 70 to 80 styles maximum, because then you have the colors duplication. So, of course, normally a 70 to 80 collection range will have more or less 3 to 4 teams maximum. Any team, think about when you pull the colors together, and that's why the illustrations are essential, because you know how, let's say, the color can be, let's say, highlighted in the right way. But normally I stay for any team group around 7 to 8 colors maximum. Because if you start pulling too many colors, then how can you mix and match all the product? Think about that.
Another question.
Mm.
Is it useful to have a degree in visual arts for studying fashion design?
Let's say that even the visual, it's a part of the training that you can get here at Raffles. Of course, it's something additional. Anything helps a fashion designer. Basically, first of all, you need to get a fashion design training and degree, and then maybe after that you can explore the visual area. So not necessarily, of course, everything else is like to be, even an architect, no? So you know exactly where to pull your collection and what you need in regards of furniture to show your collection at its best. So anything, of course, it's useful for a fashion design for a fashion designer.
And another question.
Yeah.
How do I know if I will be a good fashion designer?
First of all, here we go into something a bit more personal. First of all, you need to have passion. If you have passion and ideas on what your collection or recollection could look like, then anything from design to education to culture can be studied. And this is exactly what we do here in 3 years. So we give you the basis and the let's say the items in a way, the technique on how to pull together your own ideas, on how to express and somehow train your creativity. But first of all, we need to have passion, and love for fashion. So this is essential. Otherwise, then everything becomes, of course, a bit more difficult.
And linked to this question,
yeah.
If you are a background in visual arts, another question is linked to the major in economics. How about a major in economics and minor in fashion design?
I try to maybe understand. It's not really clear the question, but somehow, if the question was about design management, of course, this is a part of the training, of the 3 years training, if we are talking about design management, which will be explored on the 3rd year. Of course, it's more technical in this case. So visual and design management. So how, at one point, this collection will become commercially appealing or ready for the trading. This is design management. So how we do manage this collection to get it into the market, basically. So if this was the question, this is a part of the training we get on the 3rd year. Yeah. And how the visual match, or at one point will be held from the visual in order to get its own real exposition or setup. This again is part of the 3rd year training.
Another question, maybe the last one, but we have time, so it's
okay. Let's go.
There's no problem. The market is getting very competitive.
Yeah.
Is a degree in fashion design enough?
Wow. Allora, let's say, first of all, that the fashion design degree is essential to start. Then, of course, the market is becoming extremely tough. It is already extremely tough. Still, let's keep in mind that fashion will never die. And, of course, we need I was saying that before, as fashion designer, it's not anymore enough to be just a fashion designer. So we need, and that's why we have design management, visual, trading, even the preparation in paper pattern is essential. So as fashion designer, at this stage of the competition in the market, it's required for a fashion designer to have more information, knowledge, and for instance, marketing is essential. How to treat a collection is essential. How we will have always, step by step, to steers the buyers or our commercial department. And of course, we need to be also ready, not to make them, but at least to read the market data or the sale data, the performance data. So a good fashion designer has to know all these details, because somehow if we handle at least these fields, not that we have to feel a buying plan or a budget, but we need absolutely to have the ability to read them, because somehow a good reaction to all the information that we receive somehow will make our own job better. So we need to be ready to answer also to the market and not just. And somehow, if we are ready for these, let's say, steps, then our own creativity will not be killed in a way. So we just react to specific information, and probably we will do a better job than just to make a collection. So our collection at the end of the story needs to be used, bought from our consumers. So we need somehow to learn to understand them and to listen to them. And they can come through data, they can come through information, they can come from, especially nowadays, from the socials. So somehow, and that's why I was really stressing the point of a mood board. The mood board is essential to give not just our own ideas, but also the first information which are probably coming from market research or market insight or from CRM, so customer relationship management. And of course, we need somehow to keep it, to learn on how to, use these informations at its best, at their best.
Another question.
You.
But first of all, somebody say, thank you for this workshop.
Okay, thank you.
They ask, can we send the activity on this workshop to have a first feedback?
Yes, of course. Please do it. The more anybody of you can send it, no matter if it's good, not good. The most important thing is that you send it. So send it, please, to triennale at modaedesign.it. Otherwise, just visit our own website and you will find the mail where to send it to. All our social channels are there for you, so use them, no matter if just for information, browsing around, a little research. And what can I say? I personally will reply to all your workshop if you want to go for them. And I will give you, of course, my feedback for what I can. And hope to see you here in November. And thanks for everything. And It was a pleasure to be here. Bye-bye.